Hello and welcome back to another in-depth weather video. Today we are talking about Potential Tropical Cyclone One, which, if it does form, will become Tropical Storm Alex, which it is projected to do. So, starting off here with the National Hurricane Center page, we have Potential Tropical Cyclone One with current maximum sustained winds of 35 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 1,003 millibars, and it is moving north at 5 miles an hour. Formation chance through 48 hours is high at 90%, and so is the chance through 5 days. So that basically means that if this is going to form, it's going to form in the next 48 hours. And, of course, 5 days includes 48 hours. So, 90% chance there. So, let's start off here with our warnings and cone. So, we'll go into the warnings a little bit later, but you can see some tropical storm watches up for southern Florida, the northwest Bahamas, and western Cuba. So, here's the storm's cone. Now, the cone, of course, is not a track of the impacts of the storm, just the potential areas for the core of the storm to go. So, right now, we have the system right off the Yucatan Peninsula. It is expected to become a tropical depression overnight, Thursday night into Friday morning, and by Friday afternoon, we should see this start to develop into a tropical storm, and continuing as a tropical storm throughout the weekend and into early next week. You can see here that our 5-day cone ends at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, where it is still a tropical storm. I have the forecast track line here. This is a black solid line. That is right now the current projection for the eye of the storm from the National Hurricane Center, but anywhere within this cone, this broader outline here, could be the place where the core of the storm goes. I'm not going to call it an eye because, of course, tropical storms don't have defined eyes. Well, we're going to just call it the core of the storm. So, next up, we have our arrival time of winds with 5-day wind speed probabilities turned on. So, before this storm eventually moves over Florida, we could see up to 30 to 40% chance of tropical storm force winds. You can see here that's between Friday at 2 a.m. and Friday at 8 a.m., earliest reasonable arrival time. Then, after it crosses into Florida, we have a long area of 20 to 30% chance of tropical storm force winds from Saturday at 8 a.m. to Sunday at 8 p.m. Now, let's take a look here at our key messages. Key message number 1. Heavy rain associated with this system is expected to continue through Friday across the eastern portions of the Yucatan Peninsula, the Cayman Islands, and western Cuba. Life-threatening flash flooding and mudslides are possible across western Cuba. Number 2. Heavy rain will begin to affect South Florida and the Florida Keys Friday and continue through Saturday. Considerable flash and urban flooding is possible across the urban corridors in South Florida and in the Keys. The Miami metropolitan area is right now in the center of the heaviest rain as of right now. Things could obviously change. If that storm moves further to the southern part of that cone, we will see areas further south get hit with the heaviest rain. If it's further north, and then we would see areas such as maybe Orlando, Tampa, Port St. Lucie, over there get more rain. Number 3, tropical storm conditions are possible in the watch area in western Cuba Friday and Friday night, and are possible in the watch area of the Florida Peninsula and Florida Keys Friday night and Saturday. So, here is our peak storm surge potential, up to 3 feet from the middle of Longboat Key down to Marco Island, through all of the Keys, and up to Card Sound Bridge. U.S. rainfall potential. You can see here in this light green, which includes Tampa Bay, 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible. In this dark green here, we can see 2 to 4 inches. In this yellow area here, we can see 4 to 6 inches, and this orange area, which includes Key West and Miami, we could see 6 to 10 inches of rainfall. which leads to the flash flooding potential. So the greatest flash flood risk over the next 3 days, number 5% chance, that's the number, the percentage here, of marginal flash flooding, which is the 5% chance of exceeding flash flood guidance around 5 to 10 miles of a point. I think it's usually 25, but we could kind of scale that down since we're looking at multiple days here. Slight risk is at least 15% chance, and that's in this yellow area. And moderate, which is at least 40% chance, which includes Miami and Key West. That's in this red area right here. You can see the specific timing here on the side. So through Friday morning, we have that marginal risk in western Florida. That makes sense, of course, because the storm will be moving into there first. Now, day 2 through Saturday morning, you can see that we are going to be experiencing the worst of the flash flooding, including that moderate risk with that at least 40% chance of exceeding flash flood guidance. And day 3 through Sunday morning, we have the back end in areas of southern Florida. You can see up to 15% chance of exceeding flash flood guidance. So, here is the National Weather Service here, and we can see down in Florida we have our tropical storm warnings in the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic. Those are offshore, but we do have our tropical storm watches here in this pinkish color in all of southern Florida. So if you're in this pinkish reddish area, make sure to have your plan in place. Of course, Florida is no stranger to tropical systems, but of course this is the first one of the year and it could catch some people by surprise. So prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That is my motto, my catchphrase. I say it all the time with these storms. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And if you're prepared for the worst, that means that anything that's better than the worst case scenario, you'll be fine. So prepare for the worst. So PTC 1 on satellite imagery, we can see that this is a very lopsided storm. We have most of the thunderstorm activity here in western Cuba, and you can see the core of the storm, which is right in here, that rotation is on the western side of all the moisture here, which was expected with this storm when we were talking about it originally. This is a east side heavy storm system, which is pretty common for early season tropical storms. Now, of course, we don't have the wind speeds yet for this storm to be named Tropical Storm Alex, but we do have the organization and the structure starting to pick things up now. So, we're going to look at our current storm information. Starting off with our global hurricane models, you can see most of the models here have this pretty consistent track of this storm coming over Florida, right over Lake Okeechobee, and then out into the Atlantic, just north of Bermuda, but south of Nova Scotia and Labrador. And you can see that it's basically in a straight line, but cutting across Florida will bring some of the intensity down, potentially. This is the GEFS track here, and you can see we don't have much data there, but it is showing that genuine track through Florida and into the Atlantic. Same thing here with the GEPS, and we're going to look here at the European ensemble, which has about that same track, maybe a little wiggly compared to the global hurricane models, but about the same path over Florida, maybe just a tad to the north. And finally, our intensity guidance. So right now, of course, we have our wind speed in knots here, which is below the tropical storm threshold, but most models have this becoming a tropical storm within 24 to 48 hours, which makes sense because we had that potential from the National Hurricane Center of 90% within 48 hours, so that makes sense. That's where that intensity guidance comes in, and most models have this remaining as a tropical storm through 168 hours. So let's take a look at the timing of this storm. So you can see the low pressure here, currently at 1,003 millibars. And you can see as we move along into the early morning hours of Friday, we start to see this storm emerge into the southern Gulf of Mexico, where it does go through some development here. And you can see those thunderstorms here and those dark reds remaining on the east side of that storm. Then, as it crosses over Florida, becoming more centralized with the storm, and we see the storm start to organize a little bit better for a few hours there right off the coast of Florida before it starts to dismantle. This is now the 5th, which is Sunday, but we could still see it kind of remain a tropical system until June 7th, which that is Tuesday. So, let's take a look at the European model, which is showing about the same thing. So the European model shows it going into the southern Gulf of Mexico, picking up that intensity with the thunderstorms moving across Florida, picking up a little bit more intensity and strength. Now the European model has us a tad further north, as we saw with the European ensemble, but that could bring some rain and maybe some storm surge concerns, slight storm surge concerns to areas of the Carolinas as well, if that does end up happening. So the European model taking the northern approach on that cone, and you can see that the strength kind of remains here through Thursday before it starts to get into the subtropical Atlantic Ocean. So let's take a look at what both of these storms are showing for our total accumulated precipitation. You can see here in this dark maroon color, that is 6 inches of rain plus, which includes Key West and Miami on the GFS. And over here on the European model, we have about the same thing. Now, on the GFS, you can see that that core of the storm is much more condensed compared to the European model, which is more spread out, but we see locally heavier amounts on the GFS, even up to maybe a foot of rainfall. And on the European model, we just don't see that much. Mostly 6 or 7 inches of rainfall, and maybe Key West gets up into that 8-inch range for rainfall. So, that is all the information that I have for this storm system. Again, right now we are at a potential tropical cyclone, which is expected to become a tropical depression overnight and a tropical storm during the day on Friday. Move across Florida, where it could be dumping 6 to 10 inches of rainfall across Miami and Key West, and eventually moving off the coast, where it could gain a little bit more intensity and move north of Bermuda as a tropical storm. If this does get named, it'll be Tropical Storm Alex. But that is all the information that I have for today. If you found this video informative, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell. And stay tuned here for more tropical weather coverage, as I will be doing coverage throughout the entire hurricane season. But that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.